Hey everybody, welcome back to the final day of the wide Taisteal sew along. Today we are going to complete the interior and then add in the recessed zipper. So it might be a little bumpy along the way as we figure it out. So bear with me. I have no idea how it's going to go. This is a first for me as well as probably all of you. A couple of things. I realize that in the pattern, I usually have you leave the birthing hole on the inside zipper pocket. However, in last week's video, I had you leave the birthing hole on the outside pocket. I did that intentionally and I forgot to bring attention to that yesterday, but I did that because I wanted to see if it would be easier to turn through this pocket because it has so many reinforcements here with the strap and the rivets versus turning through the zipper pocket on the inside, because I've noticed that sometimes that can stress the zipper out. Also, another thing that we're going to do in today's video is instead of turning the entire bag through that 1 8-inch zipper, we're going to leave a big birthing hole along the base of the bag, flip the bag through that, and then we will close that birthing hole with the pocket birthing hole. If you've never done that before, it's a really great technique. I picked it up somewhere along the way, probably from Lauren at Mormino, if I had to guess. But that makes making big bags so much easier, especially if you're using challenging materials like leather or, excuse me, I just ate. Embarrassing. Leather, vinyl, like stiff vinyl or Decaville, you know, just a sturdy bag. It makes it a lot easier to turn. Also, my allergies are crazy. If you hear me sniffling, that's what it is. I don't have COVID. The season's changing and I'm inside, outside all day and planting and gardening and all this stuff. And so I'm just kind of a mess up and through here right now. So I apologize if I sound a little nasally. I think that's all the housekeeping. So let's get sewing. Let's finish this bag. To get started, we are going to do just a little bit of prep work first. I have my sunglasses pocket. I like to angle the top just so that one side is lower than the other. And I don't know, I just like the look of it. So I'm going to take from this top corner here down 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to fold this over 1/4 inch and clip it, and that's going to create that top edge there. Also just took an allergy pill. I don't normally take allergy medicine, so we'll see if this helps my sniffles, my sneezing. Okay, so that is prepped. Once we go to the machine, we'll sew that down and then we'll finish it off like so. But see here, you can kind of get an idea of what I mean. So one side is going to be lower than the other. All right, and then we need to cut out our zippers. And according to my calculations yesterday, we decided to do a 17-inch top zip because the width is supposed to be 14. So 17-inch zippers should be more than enough to play with the length. If we like how long it is, or if we want it shorter, we can cut it shorter, but always best to have a longer zipper than a shorter one because you can shorten, but you can't lengthen. So I'm going to cut this at 17. I'm using this zipper tape from Mojo Sews. It's got a really interesting zipper tooth color. When I bought it, I thought that it was antique brass, but you could see when compared, it's not at all. It's almost like a nickel with a rose gold. But we're going to go for it because I think that it's going to look good. It's going to pull out these like orangey peach colors. And I think it just goes with the overall theme. So we're going to go for that. And then for this one, I'm just going to cut it a little bigger than my zipper overlay. And then we've got that. Okay, so now we need to lay our zipper overlay down. And so first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn little fuzzies off. And I actually am going to add a quick layer of base coat on here just to seal this inner box. Because when the zipper is being open and closed, it's going to irritate this cork and the cork might start to fray just a little bit. So we're going to do just a really quick layer of base coat on here. And this isn't the prettiest process, but it works. I've started doing this to a lot of my stuff just because I feel like when people are paying this much for a bag, I don't want it to fray on them at all. I put instructions on my hang tags to snip and burn if that happens, but people never do it. So obviously I have to take this problem into my own hands and spend the extra time and go the extra mile. So here we are. This is another reason why you might have noticed a lot of my straps, I've been doing the 4-fold instead of with my accent color pop. And if I am doing the accent color pop, I'm taking the time to base coat the entire edge now, and it takes forever. To base coat just one single layer of cork, especially one that's almost 60 inches long, it's just a process. So it's either I'm spending more time prepping it or I am spending more money and doing the quadruple fold. It's kind of 6 one way, half a dozen the other, but it really also depends on the look that I'm going for and how sturdy or thick I want the strap to be. The 4-fold strap is significantly thicker and heavier than the accent strap. So it just all depends. All right, so I'm just gonna let this dry for just a second while I figure out my placement here on my lining panel. Get all this out of the way. We have Druzy in the house today. Get my snot rag here. Sorry to be gross. Okay, so I have my main panel here, and we're gonna go off script. I know that I usually don't play by my own, or go by my own, steps. I normally go off script and off steps anyways, but because we are coming up with this as we go, oh gosh, again? I've never done this before where I dropped it and it pulled a bunch of tape off. Now I've done it twice. But yeah, since we're making this up as we go, it's, you know, the pattern, we're in no man's land now. So the pattern is just, at this point, a skeleton and just a reference. We're going to use our skills and know-how. Okay, so apply some double stick tape. If you want to use glue, that's more than fine. I'm going to grab a tag, do the blood and swearing because this bag has no blood, but definitely swearing. All right, so I want to do my placement kind of high, not super high, but I'm gonna put it at 1.5 inches down from this top, because then that'll give enough clearance for the zipper placket and your hand, and it won't be all jumbled up in there. So I'm just gonna lay this at 1.5. We'll make sure that my top edge of my lining is lined up, and then I'm gonna lay my ruler at 1.5. And I should probably mark my center here. That would be helpful, huh? Let's do that. Okay, center. So I'm putting my center mark on a line, lining up my top edge, and then I'm lining my ruler up, okay, on 1.5. Okay, we're good. I'm just gonna put my ruler line on the center as well, so that it's all the same. Peel this tape. Sorry if I'm all up in the way. I hope the back of my head looks good today. Okay, and I'm just using my ruler as a guide and sticking my overlay down. I'm just going to peel up this bottom right corner and tuck this tag under there. The dogs are playing, of course. If you hear weird sounds, that's them. Okay, so we're going to go to the machine. We're going to we're going to sew around the exterior of our zipper overlay, and then we're also going to stitch our top stitch on the sunglasses case. So there's our nice finished edge. And then if you want to, you can keep your threads and pull them to the back to tie off if you don't want to have backstitch lines or thicknesses. Oh gosh, and we got all 4 animals in here right now. I should use the may contain cat hair tag. So just a really tight 1/8. What in the world? I am skipping stitches. Let's see. Am I out of bobbin? No. Weird. Skipping stitches for no reason. That's cool. Love it when that happens. Try this again. So yeah, just a really tight 1/8 seam allowance around the edge of the zipper overlay. Okay. There we go. Now we just need to go and open this up and put our zipper in there. So I'm just going to slice right down the center. And then trim this cotton out. Just be real careful that you don't hit your overlay. This is like not a graceful process. I'm going to trim this tag down as well, just so that it doesn't peek through at any point with the zipper. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I impress myself with how poor of a job I do on things, but this will work just fine. So we are gonna roll with it. Okay, so this is what it looks like from the front. And now you need to get your zip tape. We need to put our zipper pull on. I'm gonna burn my zipper edges. Now we need to lay our zipper in. I do still have, it's not quite enough. I thought that I could get away with not adding more tape, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So you do not want your zipper moving around while you're sewing it. Okay, peeled all the tape off. I like my zip pull to be on the left side, and so I'm just going to center. I can actually open this a little more. I think I need to go see what my dogs are doing. There are weird sounds coming from the living room right now. Get this put in. So just make sure that your teeth are centered inside of the tape. Come on, zip tape. There. Okay, let me go see what these dogs are doing. All right, so I have a ruggable rug, and they were unsticking the rug from the pad. It was a very weird sound. Okay, so we have our zipper inset, and now what we need to do is we need to add our actual zipper box. So the bigger one is going to go up top, the smaller one is going to go on the bottom, and we're going to do this with tape as well. Oh, okay. Now, Clemmy's in here. You might hear Druzy growling. It's a freaking zoo, I tell ya. So I'm going to do the top one first. And these go face down. Clementine. Hey. No, ma'am. Clemmy wants to be friends with Druzy so bad, but Druzy just does not have that. All right, so I'm folding that back up and out of the way, creating a crease, and then now I can put, I don't know if you can hear her talking to Druzy, but, okay, so then here's the bottom. Same thing, you can fold and create that crease, but when we're sewing, we're actually gonna sew one side, and then we're gonna take this off of the sewing table and flip this other one down, because I don't want to sew on this, on the lining. Come on guys, leave her alone. Just because if you know, that's just my preferred. This leaves too much room to mess up. Clemmy, enough. This leaves too much room to mess up in here, so I like to just flip it, and then there's no stitch lines on the linings to worry about. Okay. Going back to the machine. And I'm going to have to hit this with the iron again. You can see it's getting all bubbly. All right, so I'm going to stitch... Oh, sorry, Sal. Just sat on Sal's tail. I am going to have the bottom, the zipper pocket bottom, flipped up toward the top of the panel. And I'm going to sew just a couple stitches down the side, pivot and sew across the bottom, and then just a couple stitches back up here, and then I'm going to stop and flip everything. Ooh, got a skip stitch, yep. Let's try that again. She is dangerously close to my presser foot. Okay, she's moving. clammy. Hey. Okay. So just sew down just a couple stitches across and then back up, and then we're going to flip everything down. And now if it doesn't go to its exact crease that I had it before, I'm just going to snip or loosen those stitches. And I don't want to pull them all the way out because I don't want this to move. Or not that I don't want it to move, I just want to keep the stitches if I can. And so now I'm going to start, hold on a second. Okay, sorry, gosh, my face is just leaking. I know that's gross, but luckily my hands are clean. So I'm going to start stitching here. I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to start stitching here, and I'm going to backstitch really well over the zipper teeth, across, and then back down, and then again, backstitching really, really well over here to lock in these stitches that we just did before. And then so now what that does, whenever you stitch a bunch down here, you lock this zip or this pocket top down, and it just seals everything off in there nicely. And then when you look inside the zipper, we don't have any awkward stitch lines in there, and everything is just nice and looks good. So now we're just going to finish off our zipper. We're going to flip up the right side of the panel. Okay, helps if I have both of my pieces laid correctly. And then again, like I said in the intro, because we left a birthing hole in the exterior, we do not have to leave a birthing hole in this pocket. So we're just going to sew all the way around. Like so. So before I re-iron my pieces, I figured I would add some base coat to what's going to be my zipper placket piece. So just like before, I've just been adding base coat to anything that's going to be a raw edge. And I don't take the time to actually build it up and color it, just because that would really just add on hours to each piece. And I would have to batch sew everything. And sometimes I just don't like to do that. So I just do one layer of base coat, and then it dries clear, and then all bases are covered. Okay, here's one. If you can think of a better way to do this, please by all means let me know. Oh, I just remembered, I do have the little roller thingy I got from the buckle guy, and it has like a reservoir that you fill up, and then you can just roll the edge of the piece on, like, through the edge paint. And the only thing that I use in it is base coat, because it's the only paint that I go through enough of. But I always forget about it. But this is what it looks like. It's this little guy here. Oh, it dried in there too. Oh, great. But that's base coat down in there. Oh, not all the way dry. Okay. But you put the base coat in there, and then this little wheel, when it's not dried in there, rolls, and then it applies the base coat or whatever color you're painting. I do like it, but again, it just, I don't really use enough of one color to utilize it except for base coat. Okay, so I'm gonna let these dry while I'm ironing my pieces again. If I can find a place to put it. There we go. So I just want to get some of these bubbles out if I can. This is the only thing about 808 and 809 that I don't care for. Sometimes it does this. So I'm just gonna peel it. And hopefully this works out in my favor. If not, I'll figure it out. I'm having to use so much hand sanitizer right now. I just got my knuckles tattooed, and they're not going to be happy with putting all this rubbing alcohol on them. Okay, hopefully that works. At least long enough until I can get it all sewn together. I don't need it to stick. Put that on a flat surface real quick, and then might as well hit this one. And so the next step that we're gonna do is create our zipper placket, and then we're gonna attach it to the lining pieces, and then we'll complete the lining. And we are almost done already. So let's hope that the next few steps are smooth sailing. Knowing me, they probably won't be, but we could wish, can't we? Just figured I might as well edge coat these strap anchors so that they are nice and dry by the time we are ready to use them. I was going to do a really bright color like the color of the zipper, but I don't have a color already mixed up that matches close enough, so it's not a whole bunch, so I'm not gonna worry about custom mixing that color. So I just went with this green. And then I know I said in the other video that I wasn't going to edge coat my strap ends, but I figured I might as well. I'm here. It's already base coated. All right, so the green looks good against the pop of color here, but it blends in on those, which is totally fine with me. And so now that the base coat is dry on the zipper plackets, we are going to apply double stick tape all the way around the edges. Gosh, I know I've been sewing and prepping for a market because I just bought this roll. I bought 2 rolls of double stick tape. I have one over there on the sewing table and then one over here on my cutting table, and they're both halfway gone. I've prepped so much for these upcoming markets. And by the time you see this video, or the day that this video airs will be the big market of the year for me. It'll be my first time vending it. I'm nervous because everybody says to bring double of what you normally bring to a show. I normally have at least 125, 150 pieces. So right now I'm sitting at 247, but I have a show this weekend in real life, or like in real time. So 2 weekends ago for you guys watching the video. And then I go out of town for the weekend to see my niece. So I don't know, I'm just kind of stressed that I'm not going to have enough stuff, but I guess we'll find out in real time. Jersey, go, go, go. Okay, so I want to mark my centers on here before I go any farther. I'm so bad about doing that. So it's 7.5. And then I want to mark this one. And then also my zipper tape I'm going to mark. Oh, that doesn't matter because I'm actually going to fold my zipper end in. Ooh, there's a wasp. I thought it was inside my window, but it's right outside. So I'm going to fold my zipper end in and leave the tail over here. So I guess I didn't really need to mark my center after all. Okay, so I am going to peel my zipper tape apart just a little bit. I'm going to add just a tiny bit double stick tape to just the ends, like so. And then I peel it, and then I'm just making a 90-degree angle. Like that with my tape. And I try to make the top edge meet up with the side edge so that I know that my folds are the same on both sides. Because I want the ends of my zipper tape, I want the ends of my zipper tape to be at the same fold here so that when I apply it to the placket, it's the same. So from the right side, I'm going to hold it because it likes to flip out like that, and you want to hold it. And then I'm going to apply it at 1/2 inch in. I'm going to put the zipper fold, the teeth fold at 1/2 inch. This can be a little fiddly, and I'm still kind of new to this method, so I am learning. Every time I do it, I get a little better at it. And now I'm just going to lay the rest of the tape down as straight as possible. Like that. And then I'm going to trim this excess zipper tape there. And now you want to make sure that it's straight. It looks pretty good on the back. And you can feel it. You can feel the edge of your cork with your nail. So I'm going to peel. And now, starting from the center, I'm just going to carefully, I just tacked it down a little bit. And now I'm going to go over here to the edge. And I'm going to line up all my edges as much as possible. Seems to be a little high. There we go. And then using my nails as a guide, feeling the cork underneath. I'm going to do my best to lay it the same and encase the zipper tape. And then we're just going to repeat that on this side. If you're having a hard time, please know the first time I did this was a mess. So just go slow, keep trying. I do think tape at this point is easier because you don't have to wait for it to dry. You don't have to hold it. So on this side, what I want to be careful of is making sure that my edges are at the same, like making sure that they're even. Sorry, that was a whole thought that I just didn't finish. Okay, see, so it's not quite the same, so I need to move this down. Okay, that looks good. So now I can stick the rest of my tape. That's way too close. Just not my nose ring out. All right, that looks all right. Like that. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna go and sew around this, and then we'll add our zipper pull, and then we'll finish the zipper end as well. Okay, so now we just need to get this stitch down. I think because the zipper placket is so big, I am going to do a couple lines of stitching instead of just the one. But I am going to start with just 1/8 seam allowance up and around. And I'm back stitching really well when I'm going over these teeth. I'm going to go back and just add a second line. This is mostly for visual interest. I just think it might look cool. Stitch, skip. I skipped a stitch over here in the corner, so I'm just going to go back and fix that. Oh, skipped one right there too. Okay, that looks a little better. Just pulling out any threads that don't quite meet up. And now I'm going to go back into this other side. Did that? I even made sure that my needle caught the thread and it still skipped that stitch. That is annoying. Sounds like it's skipping stitches, but it doesn't look like it. It's like you can hear it when it skips them. Like, why did that one just skip? Nothing annoys me more than when a sewing machine skips its stitches. So I just went back and pulled out that whole top row of stitches, and I'm just going to redo that whole thing because it was all sorts of skipped and messed up through there. And I'm going to start from back here, and hopefully it won't give me as much guff. All right. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got our zipper placket all sewn, and what we need to do is just go add our pull and trim up all these random threads. Okay, so I cleaned that up, and now we need to add our zipper pull, and I'm going to do that from this side. I'm going to do my best to keep it even, or else the placket's going to be off center. Woohoo, not bad, not bad. Okay. So now we need to finish the edge. So I'm going to use a zipper end cap. If you want to, you can use a zip tab. I'm just going to use one zip cap. Make sure you have a screwdriver. I'm going to take a little bit of double stick tape, stick it on the end of my zipper tape, like so. I'm so sorry about my nose. This is like bad. I've never been this allergy-ish before. Tuck that in there. Hi, Glennie. Unscrew. Doesn't feel right. I bought these from 2 different places, and it's like almost unrecognizable, their difference, but some of the screws just don't want to screw in. There we go. Okay. So now our zipper placket is completed and looks like that. And what I'm going to do is center it on the part that has, or on the lining piece that has the zipper pocket. I'm going to clip this. And then just like the mini box tote, I'm just going to make this a sandwich with my upper piece. Hopefully this works like I think it will. Okay, we're going to go back to the machine. We're going to stitch here. We're going to flip this up and give it a top stitch, and then repeat for the other side. So I'm going to bring my lining and my top lining over to the machine too. So 1/4 inch seam allowance. Stitching got a little bit wild, so I'm just gonna fix that. And then now, so basically you're flipping the whole thing and then you're just pulling the lining back down. And finger press this really well. And then top stitch on the lining. Ta-da! Okay, now we're just gonna repeat for the other side. I'm gonna lay my lining first. Make sure that you're doing the proper lining side, so that the wider side. And then the way that I like to line this up is I just line it up with my other lining, and then I know that it's centered. And then layer this guy. Remember, that is right side down. I'll be right back. Okay, so same process. And again, we're just gonna flip and finger press the lining side down, and then top stitch on the lining. Of course, ran out of bobbin thread. Naturally. Okay. I redid my bobbin and I sneezed like 800 times. I also checked the box of Claritin. You can only take one a day. And that one that I took an hour and a half ago, it's not doing anything. It's driving me crazy. I don't know how people have lived with allergies their whole lives. It's enough to make you go mad, I tell you. Okay, so while we're over here, I want to put my sunglasses pocket on. I just want to like tack it. Oh, I guess I need to finish it first though. Yeah. So what I like to do is curve the bottom corner. But you don't have to. You could totally leave it just like this if you wanted to. But I like to cut a curve right here, and then you need to sew the bottom and finish that. So I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna go crazy. I am being crazy. Ooh, look at that. It's pretty good if I say so myself. Look, I can sew a curve. Okay. Wipe my nose. Oh my gosh. Stuffy, I can't breathe. This is so annoying. All right, so on the side of the lining that does not have a pocket, make sure you're in a workspace that's way too small for you, first off. So if you want to be like me, you got to make it to where you can't maneuver. Okay, so I'm going to just lay it from this folded top stitch edge here, keeping in mind of where I'm going to cut out my box bottom here. I'm going to place it 2.75 inches from the bottom. And then I'm just going to baste it just the edge all the way down the side. Okay, and now we're going to go back over to the cutting table and we are going to fold this up and cut out our bottom corners, and then we'll be almost done with the lining. All right, so just like the pattern outlines originally, I'm going to line up my bottom edges. Well, actually first I'm going to line these guys up. So you can see it's a little bit off my everything kind of shifted a little bit, but I'm going to line up these folded top stitch edges here, just like how we do on the mini box tote. And then I'm going to cut my boxes. Let's see. I'll cut it from this side because it's a little bit off here. And again, this measurement is in the pattern. So weird, I didn't trim that. It just looks strange to me. All right, so I'm just gonna toss a clip in here. And now I'm gonna go and sew down and across. I'm gonna leave a big birthing hole here on the bottom and then continue sewing up and around. Hopefully this all fits together nicely. And I don't have to make any changes. Thinking out loud here. I think I need to take in a little bit more across this bottom because I don't know. Maybe not. We'll try it like it is. All right, we're gonna box the corners. Okay, and then let's go see if it fits our exterior. Exciting. My edges, my seams. Again, leaving this top area a little wider so that I have more to fold when I'm butterflying the seams. Just like the exterior. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with the bottom. And that one's pretty close already. Okay, so the moment of truth. Now with the box tote, we just set it in and leave it raw edge. But with this, my intention is to put it wrong side or right sides together. Sew around the top and then flip. So I'm gonna try flipping this. Oh wait, no, we'll try it this way, putting the exterior inside the lining, but I don't know that that's gonna work. Just because the exterior by nature is gonna be a little bigger, and then it might be too much pushing and pulling to make it sit nicely. We can certainly try. Okay, so I always start by lining up my side edges, and I'm going to butterfly those open. The succulent cork is so slippery. Okay. So this process is probably not going to be pretty because of the recessed zip. It's just going to be in the way. And then the handles. But we'll see if we can get it done this way. Let's see. Okay, no, I can tell there's going to be too much excess on the exterior to ease it in. So I'm going to try flipping them this way. Okay, so let's tuck the handles down. Push these corners out so the cork doesn't get creased as much as possible. Okay, so I want my pocket to be toward the back of the bag. So I'm putting it opposite my tag. Okay, let's try this way. It might just be that the exterior needs to be taken in a touch, but we are about to find out. Ooh, looks like this might work. So my side edges are almost perfect. So before clipping that side edge, I'm just gonna ease her on in around this side. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh yeah, okay. Perfect. Wow, that almost never happens. Impressive. Okay, so butterfly that open. This side doesn't meet up exactly, but I'm okay with that. It's gonna be covered with strap anchor anyways. So now we just need to go back to the machine and we're gonna do a 1/4 inch seam allowance around the entire top. And then we're gonna flip it right side out. I moved you up there so that you can get a little bit, you might be able to see a little bit more of what I'm doing. So you have 2 options here. You can either stitch from the inside here along the lining, or you can take this off and stitch this way. Just for ease, I'm gonna stitch from the lining side, just because that's how I want to try it. Okay, so I always start on a side seam. Don't be afraid to manhandle the bag. Push it down, get it out of your way. Let's go. Once I get to this main strip here, I'm gonna try to lay it as flat as possible so that the bag isn't all contorted. And then I'm just using as much strength as I need to make sure that everything stays exactly where it is. And it's not slipping all around. Ooh. Yeah, talk about slipping all around. So that got super cattywampus right like as I started. So I'm just gonna pick that out and fix that. It's a little bit too close to the edge. Sounds like my neighbor might have let his super annoying dogs out. If that's the case, I might need to go out there and get my dogs inside. They like to fight through the fence. Okay, so I'm just gonna reclip this. And then fix that stitch line. That's better. Myself in the face. All right, well that was pretty painless. Yay, that's so exciting. Okay, so I'll take you back over to the other table just so that you can see. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip. Actually, I'm just gonna back you up. Let me just see what you can see. Okay. So we're gonna flip through the birthing hole that we left in the lining. I'm gonna push my corners of the exterior in and grab those and use that to pull it out. It's a whole body affair. I always tuck the exterior in between my knees and then use the leverage to pull. Okay, so make sure that your slip pockets are laying correctly. And then we're just gonna tuck the lining in and make sure that everything lays nicely before we close any of these holes up. And so I'm gonna roll this top seam between my fingers to get that seam all the way up to the top. I'm just gonna work the whole way around. All right, so excuse me, to do the final top stitching, I want to stitch on the outside so that I can keep an eye on exactly how that seam looks. So I took my extension table off, and I'm going to use 2 bifold wallet templates to prop my machine up. But really, you can use whatever you want, but this will make this act as a cylinder arm because I don't have one. Whew, excuse me, I just had another sneezing fit, which is lovely and fun. So I'm gonna unzip the zipper placket and I'm gonna start sewing on one of my side seams. And I'm just gonna slow and steady go all the way around. You wanna be careful that you keep your top seam straight. And as you're going, just make sure that it's rolled correctly. Don't let your clip slip. Make sure you don't sew over your handles like I almost just did. When you get around to these side seams, things want to get shifty on you because it's pulling on the bag. So just go slow. And it gets really thick right here at the folded side seam. So if you need to hand crank, be sure to do that. And I'm just going to keep hand cranking so I don't skip stitches through there. There we go. There's something going on with my thread, of course. That's going to happen as I'm top stitching around the front. Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to continue sewing where my thread started screwing up on me. So now we're fully top stitched. Clip these threads. And then I'm going to pop back over to the other side of the table and we are going to work on finishing this bag up, but we're almost there. So here we are. This is what it looks like right now. We have the completed slip pocket in the front, the open slip pocket in the back. Here's the inside with the wide open bottom. And then we have the zipper pocket in here. That's completed. That one's nice and deep. And then our zip placket. So, sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't on the film. But so it can sit up like that, which I rather like the look of that. Or it can fold down inside to lay like so. Mine is a little bit too wide, but if you cut from the cut list that I provided in video 1, you should not run into that problem. But when it's open, obviously that's not an issue whatsoever. So to close up this bottom hole down here, what we're going to do is we're going to go in through the open slip pocket and we're going to grab, oh, that's the other pocket. We're going to grab our bottom. Let me move you over just to make sure you're getting everything. Okay, so here is our lining. So essentially we're going to pull our lining through this hole. And sew it up. So I'm just gonna start by pulling everything taut and clipping across the whole bottom. And because it's a big lining coming through a tiny hole, it's gonna be all crinkly and a little bit of a mess. So I'm gonna add more clips than usual. But you just wanna make sure that you're getting the entire open section. And then we're just gonna go to the machine and stitch that hole closed. And then when we're over there, we're gonna stitch closed the birthing hole that we just pulled this through. Sorry if you couldn't see again. But yes, so I pulled through the hole and then clipped. So as well as you can, flatten this out for sewing. And then I'm just gonna trim this down while I'm here. Okay, and then tuck that back in through the birthing hole. Excuse me. Straighten it all out. And then you're gonna bring out the pocket that we left open and push those corners out. And then we're gonna fold these in to close this pocket up. Sounds like the dogs are tearing something up again. Huh. I should probably go check. Be right back. They were ripping something up, but it was theirs, so they can do that. Okay, now I'm just gonna stitch this hole closed. And then tuck this pocket back in. And voila. So this is where we're at now. We're all top stitched, looking a little janky in here right now, but I think with a good press, it will settle in just fine. So the last two steps that we need to do is we need to add our strap anchors, and then we just need to finish our strap. So to do the anchors, I am going to mark my dots here. Then I'm also going to mark my dots here. I'm just going to do it just on either side of my side seam. Well, I've got my template out. I'm just going to mark my holes on the crossbody strap as well. Okay, so I just need to punch these out. And then I'm just going to fold this in half and use those holes as a guide. Where'd they go? Oh. The only thing with doing the quadruple fold straps is that my rivets are so tiny. So I might need to use bigger rivets. I'm pretty sure I've gotten them to work because I haven't gotten different sizes and I've made a ton of other stuff. So be careful that you're only poking holes through what you want to when you're doing this. Watch out for your zipper pocket. Okay, so now I'm just going to put 2 rivets through, slide my hardware on, oh, you know, actually I think I want to use D-rings. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. So I just slid the rectangle ring off. I'm so used to making box totes, and those use rectangle rings. I forgot that I was using D-rings. Okay, so we're just gonna attach the other cap. There we go. Switch sides and do the same. Okay. Come on, where'd you go? There. Yeah, these rivets just might be a touch short for all these layers. Especially with the folded top edge. Okay, got that. Ooh, thumb workout. So now, before I rivet those down, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this ready to go too. So I'm gonna slide this over and through my middle bar. And then use those holes as my guide. And let's see if this is gonna work. Oh yeah, no problem. Okay, I do need to actually do these before moving on, so I won't be able to reach them. Okay, so I'm gonna lay it to where my raw edge, that's edge painted, is up. Slide one of my lobster clasps on with the ring facing out. Go back up. And then bring it back through. It gets thick where we join the seams too, so just gonna have to work that through. I'll work on that in a minute. And so you just want to be aware that the way that you're putting your lobster clasp on, that they're both facing out. It's way easier to get it on the strap than to get it on the bag, the rivets. Okay, so there's the strap is done. And then now we just need to rivet these side anchors down. Oh, let's get it popped off. So there are our, make sure you can see it. Yep. Here are our anchors. They're nice and taut, so they'll stay standing up, but if you don't want to use them, you can angle down. You can even clip your keys to them. And then here is our crossbody strap. Ta-da! Cue Isn't She Lovely song, which I would, but that's copyright. So we're done. I just gave it a good press with my little mini iron and straightened things up a bit inside, and it looks really cute. And this is what she looks like unzipped with the placket up and then zipped with the placket up. I kind of like that, how it sticks up like that. I didn't know if I would, but I do kind of dig that. And then if it's full, of course the placket can be flat as well. Like I said earlier, I did make mine a little bit wider. On the next one, I will make it shorter. But again, if you use the cut list, you shouldn't have run into that issue. Mine just wants to either go up or down. But again, it can lay flat if it needs to. Yeah, I guess let's see it with the strap on. So this is what it looks like with the strap. So here's size reference. Sorry, this is awkward, like bending knees. And then what it looks like as a crossbody. And now you may have noticed that my top and my bottom are more even as far as width. And generally, the bottom is supposed to be much longer. And so, the reason for that is, it wasn't until I was on this video, video 3, and I got to the top stitching section. So whenever I flipped, when I attached the lining to the exterior and then I flipped it through and I was rolling the seams around the top, I realized that my lining was about 2 inches too short in the exterior. So the only way that I could fix that was to go back in and I shortened my exterior to match the lining. So your bag should be about 2 inches taller. And so it'll be more uneven. But so mine is 2 inches shorter. That's what happened. I did not tell you as it was happening in the video. I just kept on going as normal because I'm just going to go back, which you've already seen these videos by this point, but I'm just going to go back and amend the first video, the cutting video and the cut list, so that you don't run into the issue that I did. I'm not entirely sure. I just did my math wrong is what happened. But if there's one thing that I learned from watching the entire season or the entire run of Friends within the last year, because Brandon has been on a Friends kick, as the great Ross says, you have to be able to pivot. And so that's what I did. In the middle, more toward the end, between sneezing fits, I just took it apart and cut 2 inches off the bottom, and here we are. So this is how it turned out. I don't hate it. Whenever I first cut it, I'm just so used to seeing these with asymmetrical sizes that I wasn't too keen on the half and half, but seeing it on video, I kind of like it. But yeah, so we've got the 2 pockets, the zip, the detachable strap, and then the inside zip, and then the glasses case. And I was going to show you. So here's my glasses. My nose is dripping. Ah! So that's what it looks like with glasses in it. I guess you don't need to see my glasses. Okay, so we made it. We're at the end. I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial and didn't mind that I, lied by omission until we got here at the very end about the sizing change. Maybe next time let's do a Sewalong that is just like one video and a really quick project. I would be super down for that. I do like making these big bags, and of course if these are the ones that you want to make, we can totally stick to those, but I would like to intersperse maybe some really quick, simple, fun projects. Not saying this isn't fun, but it is arduous, and it takes a lot of effort and materials. So let me know what you guys want to do next. Maybe we can do like the originals, the bifold, trifold. I can show you guys how to do the ID window hack if you're into that. And I could do that. I do that on both the bifold and trifold. But yeah, let's pick a smaller pattern next time. And it also doesn't have to be my pattern. If there are other designers' patterns that you really love, I can ask them for permission to do a sew-along. Most people are okay with it. So yeah, just let me know in the comments what you thought of this tutorial or sew-along or whatever series, episode. I don't know. I'm like losing my mind. I've sniffed so much extra oxygen that I have a headache right now. So kind of hard for me to think. Yeah, I think that's about it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to do next. And as always, thank you so much for being a patron and being part of the Patreon community. You guys keep me motivated. And I really, really appreciate you being here. So from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, thank you so much. And I will see you soon.